After a few months of cooler weather, chances are your pond is looking a little bit like this. Plants that grew like crazy through the warmer months are all looking pretty tired and shaggy. Your water might be looking a bit lackluster. You're probably even wondering if there's any fish still left in there. In the case of my pond, my pre-filter sponge block has completely clogged up and needs replacing, and my pump has actually stopped running altogether. It's time for a cool season pond refresh. Now realistically, a lot of the things that I'm going to do here, you can do it virtually any time of the year. If your filter clogs up, you clean it out. But when it comes to your plants, the best thing to do is either do it as they're heading into a main growth period or when you know you're heading into warmer weather. And I know we've got spring sometime on the near horizon, so I'm pretty confident dividing these plants up now, treating them like you would perennials in the garden. First thing to do is actually lift them out of the pond, and they have become enormous.
You'll only need simple tools for dividing and repotting. Secateurs or heavy duty scissors, a large garden knife, I got this one from a second-hand store, and a potting mix scoop comes in handy. First cut through and then pull apart the bigger clumps. Remove and save sections from the end of a rhizome, the fleshy root, that are growing well. Keep sections around 15 centimetres long. Look for nice new shoots in front of healthy established ones, and lots of vigorous new roots. I'm repotting into these water plant baskets. They're perforated all round to maximise the plant's access to dissolved oxygen and nutrients. Using a regular potting mix, but it's a premium quality, add a nice layer to the bottom of the basket. Before you drop your plant in, just tidy it up a little. Put the rhizome into a corner with the growth point towards the centre of the basket. Hold it upright and fill around with potting mix. Gently press down and make sure you don't overly compress the mix. Filter around 3 or 4 centimetres from the top. Add a layer of well-washed pebbles or gravel to fill. This helps keep the potting mix in place once it's underwater. Water well until the water running out of the baskets is clear, and then leave in a shady place until you're ready to put them back in the pond. Chances are your pond is looking very messy at this stage. I like to use the head of a plastic leaf rake to get all that larger floating material out.
All that messing around had left my pond water really murky, so there wasn't much point in trying to do anything else, as I just couldn't see what I was doing. What I did was I swapped out the old pre-filter sponge block for a new one and left it running for a couple of days to clear up. Then I took that new sponge off, gave it a clean up and put it back on, and I could get on with everything else I wanted to do. This device, the little pond sucker, is an awesome way to clear out silt and fine material from your pond bed.
It uses water from your garden hose to create a suction, like a vacuum cleaner, that just slurps up sludge and silt and discharges it into your garden. And now's a good time to pop those repotted plants back in.
Once I started tidying everything up, I fully expected I was going to have to change the impeller in my pump because my cascade had stopped running completely. As it turns out, those overgrown plants had actually managed to disconnect part of my piping. So once I got all the plants out of the way, I was just able to connect everything back up and it's back to running perfectly. Impellers need to be changed around about every 12 months or so, but that will vary based on your water quality and the load that your pump is under. Your impeller is the moving part within your pump, so it is subjected to a lot of stress and strain. They are, however, a very easy part to change over.
Now you want to siphon out some water. Take it down by around 1/3 to 1/2, and then fill it back up again.
Now, it may seem kind of weird to be emptying that water out and then putting new water back in, but think of it like opening a window in a stuffy room. It's not that there's technically anything wrong with the air, it's just that you want to freshen it up, and it's the same with your pond water. It's really important that you use a water conditioner every time you add fresh water to your pond. Now, this is because tap water contains a range of chemicals that make it safe for us to drink, but can be quite harmful for fish and frogs and microorganisms in your pond. The water conditioner will neutralise those potentially harmful chemicals. With all of this exchanging of water and replacing your pre-filter sponge block, chances are you've lost a lot of the beneficial microorganisms that normally live within the ecosystem of your pond. Now, thankfully, they're as easy to replace as it is for you to take a probiotic.
And that's it. Back to looking gorgeous and just waiting for spring for those plants to bounce back to life.
Pond Max, for gardens that go the extra yard.